Hello and welcome to the Fishing Guide Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Weekman, and we have Richard here. And Richard,
Hey, it's glad to be here.
tell us about the organization. We're really, we're really happy because a lot of times we just talk to professional anglers and
Right.
we just talk about their careers and stuff. But actually, most pros all start somewhere. And
Exactly.
tell them about your organization because that's where you got your grassroots and you got the new anglers coming up.
That's correct. Richard Parker, I fish for Bass Cat Boats, Mercury Outboards, several more guys, companies, and we've all went together and I started this Bass Tactics program in 2015 and got kicked off really well in 2016, 17. We grew, doubled in numbers,
Right.
and we've just continued, and it's been a blessing.
Yeah, and so let's talk a little bit about the tournaments themselves. So you have tell us how many anglers, youth anglers in a boat, and if there's an adult in the boat itself too.
Correct. Yes, sir. We have, in a calendar year, we have around 24 tournaments
Okay.
a year in a calendar year. And those range kids from kindergarten through 12th grade
All right.
and adults.
Okay.
And we run, we're sanctioned with the Bass Federation, Major League Fishing for our high school and youth anglers. And then we also we have the Legacy Series with the Fishers of Men National Tournament Trail and the Adult Series. So not only do I fish as a pro angler, I also run 4 trails.
4 trails. That's
Yes, sir. And people say, how do you do that? I said, well, we've set up a very unique program where we hold 3 of these events in conjunction with one another in the same weekend,
right.
in the same tournament, but we qualify them for 2 different national championships on the same day with the same fish.
I gotcha. And you said like one of the trails has 2 anglers, and the other trail might only have 1 angler. Well,
Yes,
tell
sir.
us about that.
All right. In the Bass Federation and the Major League Fishing in the Bass Tactics program, what we do is there's an angler, adult angler, in the boat with 2 kids. And these kids, like I say, the junior division is 8th grade and below, and the high school division is 9th through 12th grade. But a 7th or 8th grader can have a 9th grader as a partner and advance to the national championship. And one good thing about the MLF, the TBF Fishers of Men, these kids can be from anywhere. Their partner can be from anywhere. So, for example, a kid from North Mississippi can have a cousin in Arkansas, and they can be partners and advance to the National World Finals.
Wow.
So in some organizations, they can't do that. They got to be from the same school. But unique with us, they can be from anywhere, any school, separate school, home school, as long as they meet the age requirements. So, and in the Fishers of Men Legacy Series, it's 1 adult and 1 youth. It can be 2 youth, but 1 youth is all that's really required. And again, we're teaching kids what to do. There's a better things to do out there than for, say, get into bad things. We got good things to offer you. There's people that love you and want to take you on the water. And we do have a lot of volunteers.
Right.
And it's a blessing. And again, they qualify for the National World Finals with the TBF MLF and the Fisher of Men Series. So even in the youth, the Legacy Series, the top 15% from the Legacy National Finals gets to go and compete against the adults in the Team Series National Championship, which this year is on Lake Eufaula in Alabama. Really excited about that. I'm a qualifier myself, so we're excited about getting some of the kids there and competing because everybody knows the word on the street is it's probably the best lake in the United States for 3, 4, 5 pound bass.
Yep.
They're everywhere. So we're excited and ready to get on Lake Eufaula in March.
Lake Eufaula happens to be the bass it's the bass fishing capital of the world. I know that because Jack Tibbs, the mayor of Eufaula, and he's actually been on the podcast show, and
he don't mind telling you that, does he? Yeah, I mean, it's a great fishery,
and they have all the resources. But that's our throw out to Jack Tibbs. You better be watching this. But,
and it's I think it's like 80 miles long, give or take. You know, you got like 35, 40 miles of river and 30, 40 miles of lake.
Great fishing.
And I fished there prior to this event, and looking forward to going back. And one thing I will give a shout out to those folks in Eufaula, Alabama, and everybody we experienced with the mayor.
Right.
Those are great people.
Yep.
They're willing to help you any way they can when you're there. Appreciate you coming. So big shout out to Eufaula.
We love communities like that, and that's one of them. Gunnersville, Pickwick. You can just Dayton. You can just start going down the list. Where do you guys fish out of? You said 4 states, right? Is that right?
Yes, sir. We've got kids right now. We've had them from Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana.
Okay.
So we fished places like the Mobile Delta out of North Mobile, Alabama.
Yep.
We fished a Chafflower Basin around Morgan City, Louisiana. We fished all over Mississippi, up in the edge of Tennessee, on Pickwick.
Right.
Here at Lake Washington, and the fine folks at Bait and Things and up at Roy's, they've welcome and just a nice group of people, for tournaments. Anybody want to come here with a tournament, these people go overboard to help you. So,
and you're going to have a tournament right here on Lake Washington.
We are.
What's the date on that?
We got one coming up with the team series, Fisherman Team Series, January the 29th.
Yeah. So by the time you guys see that, the tournament will already be over.
It will be. And we just had one with the youth anglers here, a national qualifier with them back at the end of October. And caught a lot of nice fish. Had a crowd of about 400 or 500.
Wow.
Yeah. So with the Bass Tactics program, we have a lot of great people, great youth, great anglers.
Right.
I mean, I tell people sometimes look like a tailgating at a college football game. I'd be 700, 800, 900 folks.
Wow.
And we have a lot of good restaurants, like on Ross Barnett Reservoir, the great people at, that Ridgeland Tourism Department. And
Janet down there.
Miss Jana down there. Those people do a great job with us. The Shaggy's on the Res restaurant.
Yep.
I mean, they built a big old dock, give it to us. They give us their place in the morning. They're not even open. And they say, Richard, use our facility. Just make sure everything's locked up when you leave. Hey, what other people are going to give you their restaurant when they're not even there and trust you to lock it up and make sure it's taken care of? I mean, if it's cold, they turn on the heaters for us. I mean, great people. I mean, you can't ask for a better place.
Barnett's so famous that they just call it the Res. So we went down there and it's like the Res. I'm like,
Res,
what?
Exactly.
No, we're talking about the reservoir. I'm like, well, you guys, that's a strong statement. But a good place in Mississippi. Yep. Let's talk about fees, entry fees to entering these tournaments. Tell us about it because it's different.
It is.
In there.
Our coaches actually in the Bass Tactics program with the Major League Fishing, Bass Federation, Fishers of Men, the coach actually gets to compete against the other coaches, while the youth are also competing against each other.
Right.
So the kids get to keep 5 fish.
Right.
The coach gets to keep 3 fish.
Okay.
And they have to come to the scales together in a separate bag, weigh their fish, and qualify them. Those fees for the youth is $80.
Okay.
And the Legacy and the Bass Tactics, and the coach pays $40.
All right.
And we guarantee anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500 first place alone every tournament, plus $100,000 in scholarships.
Wow.
Every tournament.
And you have 24 tournaments.
Yes, sir.
Do the math, folks.
Do the math,
Do
folks.
the math. That's a lot of scholarship.
That's $2.4 million any way you look at it.
Yep. So tell us, you were talking about the amount of money scholarships that you gave the last couple of years. And what's your anticipation for this year?
Right. We've, in 2021 alone, with Kentucky Christian University, Montevallo University, Simpson University out of California.
Yep.
And I just named some of the Magnum bass fishing programs in college.
Right. Yep.
They're loaded. And a lot of those kids are from the Bass Tactics fishing program, and they're really excelling. But them alone, 1.7 million in 2021
Right.
in scholarship opportunities. And in 2022, right now alone, already committed 1.5 million
Wow.
in scholarships. So we, like I say, we're giving out 100,000. We got a Christian university out of Florida, Kentucky Christian, Montevallo, and Simpson. So actually, I would say by the end of the year, we could be approaching over 2 million.
And so tell us a little bit, how do you pick the person that gets the scholarship, the
Okay,
angler?
the winning team gets 100,000
Right.
in opportunities,
Okay.
along with second, third place.
All right.
All right. So actually, all said and done, in reality, a tournament we could give out like 140, 160,000 in scholarships, because
Right.
what we do is the university may say, what you got going on this weekend? I'll say, well, we got a qualifier and we got kids from 3 different states. And I'll say, okay, I want to add another 40,000 to that.
Uh-huh.
And I want to give it to the junior team,
Uh-huh.
because as well as I do, the winning team is a lot of times the juniors, and they're not going to college for another 6-7 years.
Right.
So we'll say, okay, we're going to give second place team, Kentucky Christian University, going to give you, or the first highest finishing high school team, we're going to give 80,000 to.
Right.
But the junior team, we're going to go ahead and give them 40 as a starter.
Uh-huh.
So that's 120.
Right.
And then Simpson may say, I want to give another 45 or 60. So now we're looking at 180.
Right.
So, I mean, you
That's
never
great.
know. I mean, so, and Montevallo says, I want all of them I can get. so it's great. It's a great deal, and we appreciate them. And like I say, we can't say enough about those college universities, man. They have really stepped up and, join in with Bass Tactics. And in return, we support them and give them a lot of publicity. And, of course, our kids are on them programs.
Uh-huh.
So why not? Like right now, we got several kids from LSU, La Tech, KCU, and Montevallo headed to Florida in 2 weeks to fish in one of the big national qualifiers on Harris Chain of Lakes.
Right.
And anybody's ever fished Harris Chain of Lakes, man, there was 7 or 8 lakes down there, and they're loaded. I mean, I would say it'd take 25, 30 pounds a day.
And those kids would be so happy to be going south
South,
instead of
right
being
now,
stuck up someplace cold. But
take Kentucky right now. What, 9 degrees?
yeah, well,
hey, let's go to Kentucky. Let's go to Florida.
Let's go to Florida. Wear shorts. I mean, doesn't get any better than that.
Left wearing parkas and to shorts. You're right.
So you can actually boast, and I encourage you to, about having the #1 national female team in the nation. So tell us their names and how they ended up being the #1 team.
Well, this is Anna Hocamp, is Leslie Redding from D'Iberville High School in D'Iberville, Mississippi.
Uh-huh.
Now, one thing I want to shout out to D'Iberville, Mississippi, and you as well as I do, is that they are behind that school in that fishing program.
Uh-huh.
Everybody in that community. D'Iberville it's got a large population, but it's probably only 6 square miles.
Right.
It's not big at all.
Huh.
But the support in the community, I'm talking from the firemen, the policemen, the owners of the businesses, to the schools and the faculty in the schools, and it is amazing how they support these kids. In return, these kids see that.
Uh-huh.
That's how you get the #1 team in the world.
Right.
But not only, I mean, when you got support and you got people cheering you on,
right,
and you know that they're back home watching because every tournament we do live broadcasts.
Right.
For our tournaments on Facebook. So
wow.
Everybody back home is getting to see it.
Uh-huh.
And they get excited, so they come to the tournaments, and we got more people coming into the community,
Right.
Spending more money in the community, and that's what we want, to help the community that supports us. And these kids, they have won 3 state championships, Division I at D'Iberville High School. And the same team, Anna and Leslie, were the #4 team in 2020.
Right.
In the nation.
Wow.
So after the TBF MLF National World Finals this year, in 2021, I should say, they were called up and said, "Congratulations, you're the #1 female team." And so we're really happy about that. And we have the guys. We've had as much as high as like the #4, #8, #11 team in the nation,
Right.
in the world. So, and several more in the top 20, 25. It's been really great. It's been a blessing to everybody involved. So.
Yeah, and so writers camp. We just had a writers camp come up, and we had a bunch. We had a bunch of big media. When you talk about national press, these are the who's who of outdoor writers,
premier
mediums. Yeah,
that's right.
And so they came in and baiting things, and y'all actually recognized these ladies, didn't you?
Absolutely, and it's great to give people recognition for their achievements. These ladies have worked hard the last 3 years, and not everybody can say they've been on 3 state championship teams.
That's right.
These ladies can, and one of them is Leslie. She got another year. So she could possibly, and right now they're in the running to win it again.
Right.
And the way that's done is points, end of year points. So every angler they got that participates, they get points. And at the end of the year, and we divide them, like I say, Division I, Division II, 1 through 3A schools is Division II, 4 through 6A is Division I.
Right.
And so we added up because you can't compare a big school to a little school, so we had the home school in with the 1, 2, and 3A.
Right.
And but these ladies, they compete against a lot of anglers across the state. Like I say, not only from Mississippi, but Alabama, Tennessee, and Louisiana. And they've done well for themselves, and we're proud of them. And Miss Anna just signed with Kentucky Christian University, so she is now a member of the Kentucky Christian University bass fishing team.
Wow.
And so she's looking forward to starting in August, start fishing on that team.
There you go. So that's great to hear. We're going to take a time and just talk about our sponsors here. It's Tackle Time. And our first sponsor is Pico Lures. And Pico Lures has a complete line of bass fishing lures. They got jig heads and everything you would need to go out there and catch Ned heads. They got one called the Brad head, which is after me. And if you ever saw the jig head, you'd know that someone who's bald, that looks just like someone who's bald. So,
I understand.
But they have football head jigs and all those heads. And so you can check that out there. They also have some hard baits that you can catch bass on.
Well, you got to have a good tackle.
Right.
And good bait. And when it comes to good lures, just some people stick out above others.
That's right. And the other sponsor, and if you want to check out more about Pico Lures, you can go to picolures.com. And our other sponsor is Smith Consumer Products, and they actually make everything from hook sharpeners and these are stones for sharpening your knife, but they make fillet knives. Bass fishermen don't need those, but I know bass fishermen go crappie fishing in the winter.
Well, let me just go ahead and tell you, Richard Parker will fillet a bass in a minute. I love bass. I love crappie, and every now and then you got to take some out because it start messing the lake up. So I'm all about taking a bass to the house.
There you go. So, but they have a complete line. Make sure you check them out at smithproducts.com. And that takes us to your tournament trail, Richard. Tell us how, if some anglers, a coach, or if some youth want to get involved, how do they do that?
Yes, sir. And like I say, they can be from anywhere across the country. This year in July, we're going to be inviting. Now, if you're watching this and you want to come fish, our first ever, we're going to start our own. It's a national invitational.
Right.
It's not a national championship, but it's a national invitational. You will be crowned the champion anywhere in the country that wants to come, 5 through 18. You got to have a team member, which can be from anywhere.
Right.
And that's going to be in Louisiana. And you go to Richard Parker Bass Tactics on Facebook.
Okay.
Or Richard Milton on Facebook, Richard Milton Bass Tactics as well. Only let us have 5,000. And when you go to the say if I set up a pro angler page or whatever, it's different. You can't converse and all that like you can. So I just set up a couple of different pages, and you go there and you can see the schedule, and you can go to BASSTACTICS, although it's spelled IX, but email wise and website at it's BASSTACTICS MSHS.com,
Right.
or you can get a hold of you,
Right.
and get a hold of Bait and Things. You can just Google us on the web. We're out there. Or call 601-307-8492. There's a lot of ways. We're pretty well known. So if you just
Right.
get on there and on Google and type
Get
in
going.
Bass Tactics, we're going to pop up. And or just call one of the sponsors. I mean, there's a lot of ways. And just if you want to come and be a part of that invitational, get a hold of me.
Right.
And let's get in there and get you fishing. Or if you want us to bring a tournament to your state,
Right.
we're willing to do that. Just contact me, and we'll get up there and hold an event and qualify some kids.
There you go. So, what a great show. Get to learn about that. And it's also something really important about it, getting our youth involved in fishing, and
Absolutely.
it keeps them fishing and out of trouble. So, and having a great
Yes.
time, man. There's just so many things you learn when you're out fishing, sportsmanship, and actually, when your tournaments, they're actually dealing with adults, and sooner or later,
That's right.
youth have to start working with adults. But,
That is correct. And like I say, that's one good thing. Our coaches get to fish, but
right,
we tell them the priority is you got to teach that kid.
right,
So like I say, some of these are family members, a lot of them are volunteers,
uh-huh,
but we want you teaching those kids the proper way of doing things. And that's not only fishing, but sportsmanship.
right,
The importance of treating people like humans,
right, uh-huh,
being respectful.
right,
And like I say, we are a military group as well. So being retired military myself, we want our military involved. We want to support them. And we do have a lot of them. And, they're pretty strict. So when we put them in a boat with them, we have a lot of
Right.
volunteers, like when we go out of town,
uh-huh.
volunteer anglers, bass anglers that will take our kids out, and we appreciate them.
All right. Well, sounds good. And like I always
Yeah, I just want
What
to
was that?
say I appreciate you guys for having us on the show, and look forward to many more in the future.
Yep, absolutely. Like I always like to end my show, I always tell everyone to keep their hooks sharp, their
Absolutely.
lures in the water.